If we want to appreciate Puccini, we must compare Giacomo Puccini to the other composers. It is very important, because otherwise you'll never be able to understand the great novelty and the intelligence of these men in the world of Italian opera.
You're also doing the Puccini Festival in Lucca.
Yes, I mean, this is...
What is the idea behind it?
The idea was very clear, you know, in 2003, I organized concerts since 1994. I've done more than 12,000 concerts organized by me, not as an impresario. Impresario is a different thing. I am a concert organizer and a producer because I take singers, I take my own artists, and I ask them to do what I want. For instance, I had for 4 times in Italy the chamber groups of the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, but I asked them to do particular programs for me, so we just decided programs, they rehearsed, so everything was done, you know, in a sort of very, very sartorial way, so it was tailor-made. In 2003, I said, what an incredible thing. I've been conducting, I've done things, we have performed Beethoven, Bruckner, Brahms, whatever. There's nothing about Puccini in the city of Giacomo Puccini. And now people might ask, why? I make it very short, 30 seconds. Puccini had a very bad relationship, not with the city of Lucca, but with the establishment leading the city of Lucca. That's the reason why he never lived in Lucca. He lived in Torre del Lago, which is 19 kilometers off. Also because he eloped with a woman who used to be the wife of a very influential Lucchese merchant, very rich. So the local society simply said, that man is not welcome here. He's persona non grata. He left Lucca. And the incredible thing is that when he died in 1924, and he was the most important and famous Italian in the world, the city of Lucca simply applied a very important Latin way of doing, which is called damnatio memoriae, the damnation of memory. They cancelled Puccini from the memory of the city. Puccini, he was born in Torre del Lago. No, he was born in Lucca, he lived in Lucca, he stayed in Lucca. He was so depressed that the local theatre, the Teatro del Giglio, in 1917, 1918, did not produce any of his works, and he was the most performed opera composer in the world. In his city, his theatre, where also people like, you know, Leopoldo Mugnone, the great conductor, had conducted his works, nothing. And he was depressed. You can read his letters. Yeah. So, gone. 1924, gone. Torre del Lago. Torre del Lago was the place where he was worshipped by everybody in the world. There is a festival on the lake, 1 month a year. So in 2003, I said, why don't we do something about Giacomo Puccini in the city of Giacomo Puccini? Something every day. Because Lucca is the city of Giacomo Puccini every day. So the people around me said, well, do you want to do a McDonald's of music, or what? Do you want to do this sort of commercial thing that they do concert with the same program every night? Absolutely not. I want to create a festival where every day we have an event with different professional performers day by day, and not with a monthly or weekly rotation of concerts, which should be natural for a concert attracting basically foreigners. But I will be there every night, so I just want to listen to a completely different concert every night. My people said, not possible to be realized. We can't do it because we need too much people to work for us, too many people to work for us. We need too much for the organization because we have to print programs every night and whatever. Say, no, if we want, we can do it. I studied 1 year. I saw all the other experiences around the world, but they all had problems. The problem was same programs, same people, quality of interpreters, dreadful, not very good locations, and there was no direct touch between the place where the events took place and the music which was performed. the only place which almost fulfilled everything were the Vivaldi concerts in the church of San Mosè in Venice. But they were commercial. Every night they performed the Four Seasons first half and Mozart's Divertimentos in the second half. Still the same group of people. I said, Jesus Christ, it is something, I want a cultural experience, not only an experience to attract people like the Salzburg Festival is, because Salzburg Festival attracts a huge quantity of foreigners, 90% of the people.
Yes.
So I created this machine, which was very difficult to be led at the very beginning, but now it is very difficult. It is very easy for us to do. So we print programs, different programs every night. We are now 1.5 years in advance, so it is very difficult for us to change our organization. We have more than 70 professional singers singing, and we have 2 symphony orchestras. We have 4 pianists. Every night of the year, we have a recital with piano and 2 singers, if not 3 singers. Every day of the week, we have a special theme that we face. So under this theme, we change program every day. So on Monday, we have Puccini and Mozart, so the singers can face 2 completely different vocalities, but our singers can do that. Just like the old companies Karajan used to have at the very beginning. Think about Schwarzkopf and Christa Ludwig and Dermota and all the other people. They could sing everything because they were trained to sing everything. Tuesday, we have the women of Giacomo Puccini, so arias and duets from the great female characters of Giacomo Puccini, which is basically the entirety of Puccini, because Puccini loved women. Woman is in the head of Giacomo Puccini, always. The Wednesday, we have the Italian Opera Gala, so we can play everything from Rossini to Mascagni. Puccini is the core, of course, of the concert. Thursdays, we have Puccini and Verdi, which is very interesting because it is a comparison between the 2 big men in Italian opera. Fridays, we have the Puccini Opera Gala, so it is all Puccini, everything. Saturday is what we call the Joker, because it is a night at the opera. We can perform everything from Handel to Stravinsky. Puccini must be 30%, but then the singers have the possibility to sing everything they want.
Great.
So they can experience also new characters. This is what we call training or formation. Very important. This is why we want young voices, in order to give them chances to perform new repertoire and study new repertoire with our maestros and perform the repertoire in front of an audience.
Great.
Sunday is particular because we have Puccini and the traditional Neapolitan songs, which were so loved by the maestro, who appreciated people like the Curtis or Finzi, who composed fantastic Neapolitan songs, and he loved them. And he wrote them wonderful letters of appreciation. Now they're very popular because many great singers now, they perform them regularly in their repertoire. So we have this concert dedicated to Puccini and the traditional Neapolitan song. And just within these boundaries, we change program every night. Think about the organizational problems. If a singer is falling ill, no voice, problem, sore throat, you have to replace him, but no problem. Our organization is military organization, so we do it.
Perfect.
17 years now, more than 5,500 concerts, 52,000, 53,000 people attending every year, because our venue is 300, 400 seats, not more than that. But it's a fantastic, beautiful basilique in the very center of Lucca, so the acoustic is particularly good. I mean, we have fantastic stage. I mean, we have a special box for singers, and everything has been done properly, and the festival works. And now Lucca has become the city of Giacomo Puccini. Furthermore, 30 nights a year.
So you welcomed Puccini to Lucca back?
Yes, we got Puccini back where he belonged, and it is beautiful because we are in the same big church, St. John's, where Puccini used to perform as organist for the Archbishopry of Lucca. So we are in his temple, and formally he was baptized in that church, but it is not true. Only by the documents he was baptized there. Actually was baptized in his house on the 23rd of December 1858. Officially he was baptized in the church of St. John, but they did not move the baby. It was baptized in his house, but it is definitely his church.
Yes.
And it's a fantastic place, and the festival is working very well. 30 nights a year. We have productions with our own orchestra, the Lucca Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by me. But the productions involve all kinds of music. So we do opera a lot, opera galas with singers and whatever. We do full operas. We do symphonic repertoire because we perform everything. Mm-hmm. Comparison is the most important thing. If we want to appreciate Puccini, we must compare Giacomo Puccini to the other composers. It is very important, because otherwise you will never be able to understand the great novelty and the intelligence of these men in the world of Italian opera.
Yeah.
Is the point of touch between old music and modern music. Puccini was a rock star. Lifestyle, way of composing. He always composed for the audience, thinking about what the audience loved at that moment. You know, the great exhibition in Paris, Asian music, butterfly. Took the music, put it in butterfly.
Turandot.
Turandot later on, because Turandot is beautiful because it is immensely connected with Salzburg. People don't know that. Turandot, you know, he had a big problem. The problem is, how is it possible that this incredibly bloody woman is killing Liu, and then I must give a happy ending to the story with Calaf and Turandot falling in love, kissing each other, happy ending. He said, no chance, I have to find a way, it's my fairy tale. He wanted to compose a fairy tale as final act of his career. And on the 20th of October 1923, Puccini was here in Salzburg,
Okay.
on the way to Vienna to oversee another staging of Tosca at the Staatsoper. But he wired Richard Strauss, and he said, it was in Garmisch, and he said, I want to see Salzburg. And Strauss said, I didn't know you were a Mozart lover. Oh yes, I love Mozart and I want to see Salzburg. So Puccini spent an entire day. He was accompanied by a local peasant, Bauer, and he was taken to the Mozart house in Getreidegasse, and he went to Maria Plein Sanctuary, where the Chronogmasse was composed. It was composed for the Maria Plein Sanctuary, and he spent there 30 minutes praying at the sanctuary. And speculation says that he was trying to find the right finale for his fairy tale, thinking about the fairy tale of Mozart, the last work, the last great work that Mozart did, it's Zauberflöte, another fairy tale. But unfortunately he was not able to find that, and that's the reason why he left sketches of the finale of Turandot, but he never finished. He wrote in the letter, yes, now I found a way, but he never put it into practice because it was impossible for him to conjure up a love story with the death of Liu just 2 minutes before. This is why he stopped. He died when Liu dies. And whenever I go and see Turandot performed by any of my colleagues, when Liu dies, which is 15 bars after the death of Liu, I stand up and go. For me, the opera ends there, like Toscanini in 1926 at the Premiere La Scala. I've seen the finale by Berio here in Salzburg. I've seen the normal finale of Frank Alfano many times. But then I decided that it was not the case. It is the case to stop the opera where I wanted it to be stopped, only because in his mind there was no continuation to the opera. Because there was no sense in having the happy ending. This opera has no happy ending. But you know, think about Fanciulla del West, The Girl from the Golden West. Fanciulla del West, the new movies of Tom Mix had just gone out in the States, and he knew that it was Westerns were very popular. He got the plot from Belasco, David Belasco, and he created a fantastic opera, but he said, I'm not commercial. And he created the most incredible orchestration ever. I must tell you, Fanciulla del West is not my favorite, because the melodic elan in Fanciulla del West is not very present. There are not great melodies, but there is wonderful orchestration, wonderful choral, and Maurice Ravel always said, this is music could have been written by me. But you know, he followed the audience. This is why Puccini is so popular. This is why he's a rock star.
Yeah.
Because he loved the audience. And he wrote for the audience. He wrote for the middle class, for the new people who went to the opera, didn't want to see on stage, you know, the gods and the goddess and the noblemen and the kings. No, they wanted to see people like themselves on stage. This is why it is called verismo, because it is true, vero. It is a real story put on stage. Think about La Bohème.
Yes.
Every one of us lived a little bit like that. You have no money, you have little food, you have the friends, and then you trick people, and then love stories, and then we part, and then we come together. It's our life.
Yeah.
This is why Puccini is so impressively close to people. And this is why they love it. And this is why, in my opinion, Karajan loved it, because also Puccini represented his youth. He lived a little bit like that,
Yeah.
you know, a little money just after the war, a little bit of a problem. So La Bohème was definitely his favorite. Yes, absolutely.
That's a nice sentence for the end.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for your time.
There's something I want you to add just before leaving you, and I thank you so much for the interview. Many people, they all know I love Karajan very much, because I mean, I've always been a great fan of Karajan. But people said, okay, what Karajan actually gave you, because I mean, on the podium I have a completely different gesture, like a completely different attitude, of course, because everybody must be himself.
Yes.
You can take something, there's a special gesture that Karajan used to do, kneading the dough is in English, you know, this thing, and believe me, this thing to the strings means something, means give me a richer sound, give me something. But if I have to say one thing that Karajan gave me, Karajan made me a much better human being. And you know why? People like me, like you, in a normal world, 100 years ago, would never had the chance to listen to great music and to see great masterworks and to approach this fantastic world which is music,
Yes.
unless we were very rich. Karajan, he did it for business, no chance, it's fine. But he gave the chance to us to approach this world, to enter this world, to fulfill my dreams, because without his example, I'm here, he's there, I wouldn't have done anything in my life. I would have been a normal person, and normal is not a positive adjective. Normal means normal life. No, I had my inspiration when I was 6 years of age, and I still remember this sound of the water music by Handel in my ears when I was just a kid. Pop, 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 pop. It's wonderful. And then I understood it was Dennis Brain, his own player from the Philharmonia. He loved, and many loved so much. It made me a much better human being. And this is the reason why I will always be faithful to Karajan. You know, normally you end up your interviews asking, what is your favorite recording by Karajan? Because it is something you normally ask.
Yeah.
I would say everything, but definitely my favorite recordings are from the last period, his last period. One is the famous Wagner Gala with the Liebestod with Jesse Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to that record, I was so moved that later on, I made a calculation. I've performed the Prelude and Liebestod from Tristan with my orchestra and with 3 different singers between 50 and 60 times, because it's a piece of music I love. But the recording I love the most is definitely Bruckner's 8th Symphony, the last one with the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, for a simple reason. It is deeply human. It's the piece of music I love the most. I was the first one in Italy to perform Robert Haas' 1939 version of the 8th Symphony, because in Italy, all the performers who have performed Bruckner, they have performed the Novak edition, which I don't like. I understand why he likes it, because it is more beautiful, but it is his music. He recorded the 8th Symphony so many times. I have a lot of live recordings and then the official recordings. But the one with the Vienna Philharmonic, the last one, is so brilliant because in some little spots it is not precise. And you feel it, but it is human. And the sound of the orchestra is unbelievable, and the approach to the music is unbelievable. Everybody should listen to that. I bought the record, I put it on the piano, and I watched it like that 1 year. I did not open it. Then one day I opened it, I opened the score, and the symphony has been in my head ever since. Great. I don't need a score to conduct it. Karajan made me a much better human being, so I will always say thank you, because it really gave me a different life. What could I want more than this?
And you're sitting on the chair of Karajan now.
I'm so proud to be, I'm so happy and so proud to be here. Believe me. It's a totally unexpected joy. Thank you very much for the time you gave me, really.
Thank you for your interesting talk.
Thank you.
Thank
Wonderful.
you.